What's up, everybody? We got 10 minutes here. It's just Mark and myself, and I tell you what, we better jump right into this one because Mark hadn't eaten anything all day. It has been a while. We're at 3 p.m. our time. So, but speaking of eating, what we're going to do on this one is a little bit of eating, not to be rude and eat in front of you, but we're going to do a little cooking segment here. A while back, we went out and shot a couple of jackrabbits out in Nevada, and it was a great time. It was actually a ton of fun to do. I hadn't hunted for jackrabbits before. Had hunted for some cottontails and whatnot around here, but doing it out there and all the sagebrush in the mountains was kind of neat. And yeah, so we got a few, one each actually. We were with Remy Warren as well. Remy got one.
Super fun day.
Great day, and figured we should cook them up. And Mark, what is the shtick behind this? Is it that most people don't cook up their jackrabbits, or is it just the fact that people feel as though there's a little bit of like, it's not that great, or what?
I mean, yeah, I think there's kind of a stigma, that revolves around them, and they're kind of like commonly, I guess, maligned as not great table fare. We got this recipe from Hank Shaw, Hunt, Gather, Cook. Lots of great recipes. Check that out. So anytime we talk about this recipe and you want to get all the deets, go check out his website. But I mean, part of this is, so we had these jackrabbits, and I think everybody has kind of like, that sometimes you go into the freezer and you find that maybe that mystery pack of meat that maybe you forgot about, and that happened to us here. I mean,
we did. We forgot about this for a while.
We haven't had it exceptionally long. I mean, it's well inside a year. But so we're like, well, for us, that mystery pack was kind of these jackrabbits. We're like, well, what do we do with them? And like I said, went to Hank's website, picked a jackrabbit recipe, which it's a really cool article that he has on the website. Kind of almost like tons of information about kind of like the kind of the story behind jackrabbits and part of the reasons that they're maybe looked down on, but maybe not for good reason, right? And
okay.
And I'm going to read an excerpt from his article. So, if you're looking for something, at least the way this appears to me, I've never eaten jackrabbit before, Jim.
Okay.
So the way this sounds to me is if you're looking for something that is like, super mild or not quotation mark gamey. I mean, it sounds like these are going to have like a high level of flavor to them. So I'm just going to read this because Hank puts it in I think really, really good words? Verbiage, yes. So this is Hank Shaw, Hunt, Gather, Cook. Still, another pleasure of eating hares is their flavor. The dark meat is undeniably gamey, with an indescribable aroma. He's not really talking me into it right there. But, and a flavor that screams wild. It is not for everyone. A couple other things. He says, I like the lustiness of jackrabbit, however, especially with other strong flavors like the capers and saffron that are in this stew. A little goes a long way. So this isn't something where you're going to have like maybe second, thirds, or fourths.
Bowls and bowls.
Yeah, it sounds like it's got some strong, robust, heady flavors, as Hank calls them. But hopefully it's good.
Well, we've got onion, garlic, parsley, capers, red wine vinegar,
saffron
in this. So yeah, when I walked out into the kitchen, this stuff was stewing there. When Mark was doing it a little bit without me before we got going. It filled the hallways of Vortex,
and I'd say
with a smell that smelled oddly like flaming hot Cheetos. I'm still stuck on that.
To you,
I'm still
I've
stuck
smelled
on that.
flaming hot Cheetos before, and I don't.
But have you eaten as many flaming hot Cheetos as I have in my life?
No, probably not. But I would say mixed reviews as far as the aroma. So some people would walk down the hall and they'd go, "Oh my gosh, that smells delightful."
Yes, which I did.
I hope I'm around when you guys start serving that. Other people walked in and raised an eyebrow and said, "What is that?"
Yes, as in, could you please remove it from the kitchen?
Right, and so I'd say I think it actually, maybe like most stews or soups, it started to definitely smell better as it cooked. Now, speaking of as it cooked, we took our eyes off this, and there wasn't as it was kind of, I guess, braising, it wasn't like covered in a ton of broth. So we took our eyes off it for a little bit, and it kind of cooked down, probably a little too much. So we ended up adding some water, kind of deglazing the bottom of the old Ninja here, which, as we found out, has some electrical issues. But we basically, at least when I was trying to operate it, and get it between clicks to make it work, Jim, the only heat that I could get to work on it was basically set to stun,
blazing hot.
Yes, so maybe it was
you just don't have
flaming
the right.
hot.
It's just there's a touch to it. This is my Ninja that I took to college. It attracted many noses from all around campus when I would get to cooking in the old dorm room. So she's been with me through a lot.
Seen better days.
Yeah, so dish up here.
So
we're gonna do a little taste test. We forced ourselves not to try any, and I got to be careful what I touch because Mark's leaving for a hunt here in 2 days, and he's like set to stun in terms of like.
Well, Jim palmed this loaf of bread like a basketball as he cut it.
After I washed my hands
and touched like 3 doors.
And who doesn't grab the whole loaf of bread when you're cutting it? Because it's never mind. Okay, so we got some bread because Hank Shaw recommended that we eat it with some bread.
He also said...
I think that's, what is that, like a palate cleanser or something? This bread here with a little bit of butter on it?
I don't know, it just goes good
I don't
with
know
it.
if that's what you call it, but this is the part where, like we said, it's not to be rude. We're going to eat in front of you guys here, but we're going to let you know what we think. And
I'll say
this, too. It comes out looking incredible.
So if we don't like it, I'm not sure we can necessarily be like, oh, this was a bad recipe, because we really did let this cook down quite a bit. Like,
yeah,
I'd say
exactly.
The broth of ours is definitely a lot darker than the picture of Hank's.
See, like, here's the thing, is that, sometimes around here, we're trying to remember to do stuff. There's a million steaks in the fire and all over the place, and we kind of forget some things. So maybe we forgot to start cooking this, when we should have, and then we kind of had to rush through it and use a temperature that was a little bit...
Extra trip to the store.
Yeah, and then we just maybe had to use a temperature that was a little bit higher than what, would have been recommended. I feel like, if anything, it may come out... I think it's going to taste really good, but if anything, it may come out a smidge tough because we used too high of a heat. And we didn't use a low enough heat for long enough to really break down the muscle fibers. Because what it's reminding me of a bit... Well, it shouldn't even remind me of anything yet because we haven't even tried it. So I'm going to let's do it. Mark, you take your bite here first. I'm going to take mine.
I'm taking a big old piece of jackrabbit here.
Full on.
I'm just going to take, I'm not going to add I'm just going to have the meat. I'm not going to grab the broth with this bite. Because I feel like...
I'm just going to grab whatever ends up on my spoon.
It'll be interesting to see if... Oh,
down the hatch.
Jim's going. I'm not going to look at your reaction.
We'll just edit all that chewing out. Anyway, now that I've chewed through mine, I will say the flavor is amazing. I got the end of a piece of some sort of a, cartilage or who knows what. But other than that, so that was a texture thing, just relating to eating something that wasn't meant to be eaten. I like it. You don't seem convinced, though. See, and here's the thing.
I'm analyzing it. I'm mentally analyzing it.
Okay, well, you mentally analyze it. I'll throw this out. I really, really, really like vinegary foods, right? Like I just finished eating a sandwich before this with sea salt and vinegar chips.
Love it.
If I had to choose my choice of barbecue, it would be, I believe it's the Carolinas that have the really vinegary barbecue, or maybe they're the really mustardy one. I can't remember. I get mixed up all the time. Whatever region of the country does the very vinegary barbecue, big fan of that. Whatever region of the country it is that does that. That is my favorite. So anyways, this is very vinegary. Has a lot of flavors in it going on that are pretty strong. Mark may have even added a little bit too much red wine vinegar.
Just when I thought maybe I added a little bit too much, and most of that was because of the way that it was smelling when it originally started cooking. Now, I think it calls for a quarter of a cup, which I did measure, but it was like just maybe I poured in just like a slight bit more than that, and I was like, whatever, throw it in there. It's soup. Can't really mess up soup. But
where are you at?
I liked it. I think I could definitely taste that it was jackrabbit. I think if we would have cooked it a little bit slower and a little bit longer, and also not let it cook down to where it kind of maybe burnt some of the ingredients a little bit. But I'll say this: it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. It was good, and I think Hank described it perfectly. There's a lot of bold flavors in there. You are going to taste the rabbit. It's the hare, the jackrabbit. I guess they're more of a. Hank says they're actually a hare, but Overall, it's good. I'm gonna try the.
See, here's the thing. So, like, now, if you're going to try something for the first time, which I guess both of us have with Jackrabbit, I guess when you're saying that you can definitely tell it's Jackrabbit and you can taste it, I can't pick it out because there's so many other really strong flavors in it. So, like, I guess if I were to have a meal where I was like, well, I really want to know what Jackrabbit tastes like, I wouldn't have done it this way because obviously then it's just covered up by so much. I can't pick out what the Jackrabbit is. You don't think so?
I can taste kind of everything a little bit.
Interesting.
But I had a nice chunk of meat, though.
I felt like I did too, but I just can't pick it out. I'm just definitely getting maybe there's a flavor in there that I'm not, but I haven't had capers before.
I think you're
either,
probably tasting it and not knowing that. And maybe that's a good thing, right? You're tasting it, but you're not knowing. You're just like, oh, that's just pretty good.
I'll tell you what, I could have a whole bowl of that stuff, though.
Yeah, it was good. It's good.
And
I keep wanting to take another bite, but then you have to like chew into the microphone.
We're on the podcast, but
here's what I'd say. I wish we didn't let it cook down the way it did because I think it would be a little bit more not off-putting. I feel like we didn't do some of the ingredients justice by cooking them so far down the way we did, and then re-adding the water.
That's fair. Oh yeah, I think that's definitely fair. Because then the water changes things and whatnot, but.
We should really get a kitchen for cooking.
Maybe.
Like with utensils and
maybe
the
like
proper...
a not half-broken Ninja.
And a not half-broken Ninja.
Yeah. Well...
But here's what
if you've learned absolutely nothing over the course of the last 12 minutes...
Which is quite possible.
That sounds about right. But, no, I mean, in the end, Jackrabbit, would you shy away from it?
Oh, no. In fact, I would want to do this again and probably keep an eye on it a little bit more. Like, I think this is fine. I guess here's what I'd be curious about. If we did it like kind of more perfectly, followed it to a T, didn't let it cook down, would it be pretty much the same or different?
Yeah, I just don't know how much the cooking down... Maybe it's just,
it's just
personal. No, we didn't burn it. Maybe it's just personal preference. This is exactly how I would like it.
Okay.
I dig it. I'm all about it.
And probably because if you just served this to me, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that's fine. But since like I was involved in the process and like, oh, I know every little thing that happened and we did this and that, then...
Could be.
I feel like I let Hank down. That's what I'm trying to say. This isn't bad. I think it could have been better.
I don't want to let Hank down, man.
No.
I get you. You didn't have any of your bread.
Oh, yeah. I bet that's going to actually be really good.
Well,
not dipping it in the...
Let's hear some ideas from folks out there listening. How you've cooked, if you shot Jackrabbit, how you've cooked it. We'd love to hear that. And if anybody goes in and finds Hank's recipe here, did it have a name in particular, or was it just Jackrabbit
I think it's
stew?
Sardinia hare stew.
Sardinia hare stew. Okay, got it.
I'm going to look it up. I got my papers here.
If you try out that recipe...
Sardinia hare stew.
Okay, cool. Give it a shot. Let us know what you think, too. But overall, I would say not bad.
Definitely not bad. I think I could have done a better job.
All right, Mark could have done a better job. Let it be known. And on that note, we'll catch you guys next time. If you got any other ideas for cooking stuff that you'd like to see, or if you just want to see more cooking stuff, definitely let us know. Hit us up on Instagram or in comments, whatever works. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Mark,
so you just like it.
I like it.
I don't hate it. I just think it could have been better.
It's really strong. But, I mean, if you like vinegary stuff, you like strong stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get just another piece of pure unadulterated rabbit in here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add a little broth to this bite.
10 out of 10 would eat again.